The Green Bay Packers were one of the best teams in the NFL last year, starting fast, except in the biggest games of the year, which means they have to find more ways to win.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast to iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts. You will find Locked On Packers, the #1 Packers podcast on the internet, and the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Last year, it may surprise you to learn, the Green Bay Packers were tied for most wire-to-wire wins in the NFL. Games in which they never trailed. They won 7 of their 11 games. Wire to wire. Never trailed. The only other teams that had 7, Baltimore and Philly. Philly was what ended up being the best team in the league, the Super Bowl champion. By the end of the year, I think they were the best team in the league. And Baltimore looked like, for long stretches, they were the best team in the league. Fell apart in the postseason, but you win games like that, you are expressing dominance. And that was surprising to me when I saw it, because the way our brains work is we latch on. We latch on to the things that go against our expectations. And we have this bias toward the things that are outliers for us in our minds. And so you have the Lions game, both of them really. The Vikings games, both of them really. The Eagles games, the Bears game they lost, they started slow. The answer to, what can you do to fix that is not, I repeat, is not just start fast. Because there are going to be games where you don't. Where you can't. Where you get a bad break here, something happens. And it's not that the Packers can't come back. They did come back against the Lions. They did come back against the Vikings the second time. They won games where they were trailing late in the game. And they found a way to pull it out. It's not that, they can only win when they start fast. It's in these big games against the best teams, you just can't expect to go up 10-0. It can't be the only way you can start a game. Now, you would like to have started fast in maybe one of them. But guess what? If you had, you probably would have won. Like, there is a little bit of sample bias here and survivorship bias here, because you have these games that you lost where you didn't play well. And it's like, well, if they would have played better in the games where they lost, they wouldn't have lost them. Well, yeah, no duh. Right? So it's not about going, well, just play better more often, because that's not interesting. They need to do that. But it needs to be, okay, if they take away your first punch, how are you counterpunching? How can you get back on track? And this, to me, when Brian Gutekunst says, I want to see Jordan Love control the game, this is what I think he's talking about. You have against the Vikings, defense makes a great play, interception, and they go down and score, and all of a sudden now you're down 2 scores early in the fourth quarter. Okay, Jordan Love, settle the troops, lead them on a drive, and score some points. It's those moments. And again, yes, that does fall under the envelope of, playing well. Yes, you play better in that spot, but it's not just, hey, we didn't start fast, let's play better instead. Yeah, okay, do that. You need situationally those moments where you can lean on something. This is where the Packers not having superstars, especially on offense, comes back to bite them. Because when the Vikings go down 14-0, the plan is get the ball to Justin Jefferson. When the Eagles go down, and the Eagles don't go down early, but if they do, it's, hey, run the ball, Saquon Barkley, let's give him a chance to break one. Let's throw the ball to A.J. Brown. Like, they have dudes who can make those plays. The Packers don't. They rely on mostly Matt LaFleur to manufacture those things. You want them to be able to rely on Jordan Love to make something happen, but he is not, he has not at least shown to date that he can do that consistently. Now, if he comes out firing, he's hot, he's in rhythm. Yeah, okay, great. And the Lions game, the second one, is a great example. Packers had the lead in the fourth quarter of that game. They were down 2 scores at halftime. And they came roaring back in the second half. It's not like Jordan Love can't, lead a comeback by any means. We saw him come back 17 points down in the fourth quarter against the New Orleans Saints. It's not that part of it. Because there's the defensive component here too. When the Packers offense was struggling against Minnesota in US Bank Stadium, the defense couldn't do anything. I mean, they could not have played worse complementary football. In the Vikings game, the first game, okay, you get a turnover. Could you get one stop, please? One stop would be nice. But they get in these games where they just can't do that. When they start, hey, you go down, you get points right away, let's roll. Now, they did that against the Lions. At home, the first time, went down the field, got points, but situationally, they were so bad in that game. 4 drops on third down, including 1 in the end zone. I mean, that was a lack of execution. They're in these games. It's the situational football. It's the moments where you lack that star power, where the Packers are going to need some guys to step up. Whether it's go to plays, go to ideas, or go to players. And usually you need all of those things. Green Bay has to find ways to win these games in different kinds of ways. It can't just be, we scouted the crap out of this team. We know exactly what to do, and we're executing early. Like, you can't only win when everything is perfect. You have to be able to win when it's a little sloppy, when it's a little ugly. And I'm talking about against the best teams. They beat Dallas. They blew Dallas out. Now, they wanted to give that game away at the end defensively. Joe Barry, thank you very much. But they beat the brakes off that Cowboys team. They fought. They hung in there and fought against the 49ers. And they got some bad breaks in that one too. But then when they need one stop, defense couldn't come through with complementary football. So they have to play better complementary and situational football this year. And that will allow them to win in different ways. It does ultimately end up sounding like you just have to play better. But it's about finding the ways to regain control of a game when you don't start out well. Okay? Because that's going to happen. You can't just fix all of that. So when you don't come out hot, how do you get back on track before it's too late? I do have one answer, and we'll talk about it next on Locked On Packers. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. We got the Stanley Cup Final. We got the NBA Finals. NFL futures, all there for you, plus live prop bets mid-game. Maybe you're not a hockey person, bet it mid-game. Maybe you're not the biggest fan of these two teams in the NBA Finals. Put together a couple of player props, same game parlay, and now you're cooking. Plus $200 in bonus bets. That could add to the excitement a little bit, don't you think? First $5 bet hits, you get that bonus set of bets. New to FanDuel? Perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, that's $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. We have talked ad nauseum about the Packers offense last year and the defenses that they faced and all that stuff. One of the reasons why they can get a little stuck in the mud offensively and still have such great offensive numbers at the end is explosive plays. This is an offense that hunts them. It is a mentality, and it is, by the way, a mentality that I fully support. I believe offensively, your goal should be explosive, explosive, explosive. The Packers were fourth in explosive plays last year. And that's not getting a lot of explosive runs, despite the fact that they had a very good running game. Success rate is another thing, though. Success rate measures, it can get a little complicated, but like on 1st and 10, if you stay on track to get a first down, that's a successful play. And then on 3rd down, you have to convert to be a successful play. So the Packers, top 5 in DVOA, top 10 in EP per play, but 14th in success rate. 14th. Right between Kirk Cousins and Geno Smith, Jordan Love was. That's not great. It's one of the few stats where his numbers are not top 10 in terms of advanced metrics. And it's because they hunt big plays. He was 13th in 2023. Now, that's something that I think we have to just reckon with for a moment. We talked about this the other day with the receivers. The regression from those receivers. They were rookies in 2023. And this passing offense was less consistent. They were less reliable by success rate when Jordan Love was throwing the ball. I think just the law of averages says they will be better in 2025. But this goes back to the point that I was making earlier. I think success rate is the kind of thing where if you have an identity and you have good players, you should have a good success rate. Because it's not just, we picked the right play at the right time. No, it has to be more than that. You have to be able to pick the wrong play and still be right. Now, Jordan Love has got a lot to do with that, right? Like his ability to get the offense in and out of the right calls at the line of scrimmage, those kinds of things, but to have go-to plays in those moments, the stay on track moments, the, hey, we can't go 3 and out here drives. That's when it would be nice to just string a couple first downs together. Now, would it be nice to hit a 60-yard touchdown to Christian Watson? Yeah, sure it would. But maybe after a first down or two, and now you've got the defense on its heels, guessing, okay, what's coming next, then it's a better time to generate those explosives. Plus, okay, like you remember 2014? I know that team was really good, right? That season, maybe more than any other season I can remember, probably include 2011 in this. It didn't matter the down and distance. 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12. I thought they were converting it because I knew Aaron Rodgers to Jordy Nelson was just going to work. 2020, I came pretty close to that feeling. Wasn't quite the same. Devontae Adams, a better player than Jordy Nelson was. Aaron Rodgers at a different point in his career, though. And then the supporting cast, not as good. In 2014, you had baby Devontae Adams, you had Randall Cobb. In addition to, Aaron Rodgers at his apex. This team does not have any of that. So on 3rd and 8 or on 2nd and 8, when you need to get the drive going, okay, a little run on 1st down, what is the play? Now, I have advocated in the past for play action, for that to be a bigger part of what you are able to do. It makes it, I think, more efficient in generating explosives, but there's usually opportunities off play action for the quarterback to break the pocket, to take off and run, outlets. I think Jordan Love can be, rather than chasing explosives, there is a line to ride here. And, Matt LaFleur has always supported his quarterbacks. Jordan Love is no exception with, we want them to be aggressive. We want him to be him. We want him to push the ball down the field. But remember, in 2018-ish, we started to hear the chorus, including from yours truly, about that offense that Aaron Rodgers refused to check the ball down. Refused. How many times against that soft, too high coverage for the Eagles in the second half? I understand the Packers were trailing, but did they dump the ball to Josh Jacobs after clearing everybody out because everyone's bailing to keep a lid on the offense, and you just let Josh Jacobs go to work? Why can't there be a part of the offense where that's just built in, where that's essentially the play? Or where you clear everybody out and you dump the ball to Tucker Kraft? Not a screen. It's a sort of chip release, and the whole idea is you work touchdown to check down. Like, you want to get Tucker Kraft more involved? That doesn't mean you have to split him out as your isolated X receiver and let him go win one-on-one. No. That's not featuring Tucker Kraft. Like, if you think he can do that and he proves that he can do that, great, do that. That would be awesome. But it doesn't have to be that. So much of what George Kittle is able to do for the 49ers, for example. Yes, they scheme up shot plays for him, but then a lot of it is just like, he's on a runaway across the field. You get him the ball and he goes makes a play. Or he's blocking. Chip release, get him the ball and let him go run. We know Tucker Kraft can break tackles as well as anyone in the league. We talked about this last year. I wrote about it for The Leap. That's what he does. They have players. Josh Jacobs is a nightmare to bring down in space. Savion Williams is a nightmare to bring down in space. Jaden Reed can be a nightmare to bring down in space. They have chain movers. The best time to get a first down is on 1st down, not on 3rd down. And the good offenses always turn first downs into first downs, whether it's on 1st, 2nd, or 3rd down. The best teams are not the teams that convert the most on 3rd downs. The best teams are the teams that avoid 3rd downs. The best teams are the teams with the fewest 3rd downs, generally. Because they're doing their work on 1st down, on 2nd down. That's how you generate consistency. You're not in these high leverage 3rd down situations where a drop, a penalty can scuttle the drive. How many times last year did it's 3rd down, you convert, up, coming back? Like, there was touchdown taken off the board because of that in first quarters of games. You just can't have those situations. Well, if that happens on 1st down, now you have more time to get your get back. It's the consistency down to down. You can still chase the explosives, but find the ways on 1st and 2nd down. Even if it is just, okay, that's 6 yards. Whereas it was 0 yards last year. Make it 6 yards this year. So on 2nd and 8, now it's 3rd and 2 instead of 3rd and 8. And now, even if you don't get it, even if you have a drop, you can go for it. Or at least you have a decision to make on if you want to go for it. Those are the ways that you maintain drives. And that's how you push back against, okay, we're not playing well early. Play action play, first play of the game, play action shot, Christian Watson, he drops it. Now what? We have to have an answer. And it can't just be run, pass. That they devolved into that a little too much last year, trying to, get back on track. Heavy scare quotes there. Doesn't mean don't get Josh Jacobs the ball. In fact, I'm very much advocating get Josh Jacobs the ball. But this passing offense can be more consistent. They can be more successful. But they are going to have to find the places in their offense where they can generate easy, and I don't mean 40 yards, an easy 6 yards. Do you know how valuable an easy 6 yards is? On first down, if you get 6 yards, it's 2nd and 4. Number one, successful play. Second of all, a 2-yard play on 2nd and 4 is a good play. And all you need is 4 yards to get a first down. 6 yards is really valuable. Finding more ways to create those little chunks, to create a successful offense that can stack drives, that can go 10, 12 plays, 80 yards, and go 3 plays, 80 yards. That's when you get into these dogfights in the postseason against the best teams. You have to be able to play both ways. You can't be a plotting offense only, and you can't be an explosive offense only. You have to be both. And the Packers have yet to quite find that balance. It's why the numbers don't tell the whole story with the Packers offense right now. They can get there. I want to switch this to defense, talk about Lukas Van Ness next on Locked On Packers. Thanks for making Locked On Packers your first listen. For your second listen, check out Locked On NFL Scouting. As training camp gets closer and moves are being made, host Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino will make you the most informed NFL fan this offseason. Find Locked On NFL Scouting on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Lukas Van Ness spoke to the media earlier this week and talked about how the hand injury that he had affected his play. And look, I don't want to make excuses. He wasn't making excuses, but he was saying, look, I had this injury. And he was candid, honest, saying, look, it was in my head a little bit after I came back. Not quite the yips, but he wasn't quite confident in it, the same way that we heard Zach Tom say, hey, I had this torn pec, and I wasn't quite all the way back, even when I was all the way back. The mental aspect of this game is real. And I saw some takes online, unfortunately, about, this is really bad for him. I said it was suboptimal, which it is. But I don't think it's suboptimal because I think Lukas Van Ness stinks, or because this is proof that Lukas Van Ness stinks. No, it's not that. It's suboptimal because he didn't play well. And anytime you hear, I had a mental block, you go, uh-oh. Now, is that proof that this is over? No, I think if anything, what it tells you is there's an explanation, at least in part. A justification, not necessarily. I didn't say that. But there's an explanation. And I mentioned this, I think, at the end of last year and then again in the offseason. He did get better in the second half. He played with more force and more physicality, more decisiveness. You could tell he was just a little bit more confident, that the injury had hurt his confidence. And I can see Lukas Van Ness having a somewhat similar trajectory in his career to Nick Perry. I think right now, the best case outcome is Nick Perry without the injuries. I think the opportunity for Lukas Van Ness to become an elite player, like a truly elite player, probably not there. Probably. Like, we likely would have seen it in the first 2 years. He likely would have been able to beat out Kingsley Enagbare to be a starter, or a guy that they just traded, a veteran that was a big part of their locker room, but was not playing at a high level for the Packers. I know he was hurt, but he did get better in the second part of last season. And for him to say, I had an issue using my hands. Well, his hand placement was the whole part of his development that he needed to work on. So what did the Packers do? They gave him some opportunities to rush inside. And I said the other day, But by the way, before I heard the quotes from Lukas Van Ness, don't read too much into this. This is not a big deal. I'm a little more concerned today, I'll be honest. Because mental blocks, tweaking positions, starting to get concerned from a Packers perspective. This was the big piece. They worked to get the pick swap into the Aaron Rodgers deal, specifically for a player like Lukas Van Ness. They are probably not going to have a top 15 pick for a long time unless Jordan Love gets seriously hurt. And by the way, thanks to the Locked On Social folks who found the clip a year ago yesterday of me saying, beware of Jordan Love's injury, not regression. Just, you guys are doing a great job. For, no reason in particular, just doing a great job. I appreciate you. But this is not great. It's not great. But, you look at the Pro Football Focus numbers, they got materially better in the second half. The decisiveness was there. He can be a good player. A superstar, probably not. But he can be a good player. But what worries me is that hand development piece. He, coming out of college, needed to work on it. Coming out of year one, needed to work on it. And now coming out of year two, still needs to work on it. And had this, basically had the yips using his hands. Didn't feel confident. Didn't feel comfortable. Well, that's the whole game. It's not unlike the receivers all of a sudden forgetting how to catch a football. And then it gets in your head, and then you start thinking, and then you play slower. And I think he must have been able to get past it, just freed him up. Second half, if he just plays hard, he's athletic enough to create problems. If he can improve his technique 15, 20, 25%, then he can create opportunities for himself. I think like Aiden Hutchinson, Myles Garrett, that kind of player, TJ Watt, that's not on the table really. But that's okay. Nick Perry, when Nick Perry was healthy, he was really good. I think Packer fans forget that. When Nick Perry was healthy, he was really a good player. Was he ever an elite player? No. Was he a really nice secondary pass rusher with Clay Matthews on the field, with Mike Daniels on the field? Yes. I think Lukas Van Ness can be that. The Packers are happy with some of the development this offseason. They have big expectations for him. If he can live up to them, it'd be a huge boost for this defense. But as we talked about the other day, you may or may not get Jerry Alexander back. Kenny Clark is healthy now. Edgerrin Cooper stepped forward. Devontae Wyatt is healthy now. You add in these rookies who have some promise. But Lukas Van Ness taking a meaningful step forward, that would be maybe bigger than any of those things. If he could take and become a good player this year, doesn't have to be a star, a good player, that'd be huge. But using your hands, have to be able to do it. If we don't see early in the season, oh, hey, that's a move, or that's two moves, he's strung together, I'm going to get nervous. I'm going to start to get nervous about what's going on there. I really am. So that'll be something to monitor. No doubt. All right, back tomorrow as we close out a week of Locked On Packers. Remember, show on Monday, no show on Tuesday. Kenton Gibbs from Locked On NC State, I think it's Locked On Wolfpack, will be joining us to talk about Anthony Belton, someone we have not talked, I think, enough about on this show. His journey, what he brings to the Packers, all that good stuff. A rookie orientation series special that's coming up next week on Locked On Packers. Follow me on the social medias. Follow the podcast on the social medias. Twitter, Blue Sky, X, okay, whatever. Instagram, TikTok. We're there. We're on YouTube. You can watch us. You can watch me right now. What, are you watching? Subscribe on YouTube so you can stay Locked On Packers.